Hi, everyone. Welcome to the final day of our devotional series, Faith Over Fear. Today, I want to dive into how we can live fearlessly in a world full of uncertainties. This week, we've talked about how fear kind of has a way of creeping in, whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, or simply things we can't control. It can feel kind of like a constant companion. But here's the good news. We don't have to live that way. As we focus on surrendering all of our fear, our distraction, our control, and our selfishness, it's fair to expect challenges. But remember that none of us are perfect. In all of our mess-ups and failures, we can remember and hold fast in that His love for us never changes. I know I beat myself up when I make mistakes, and there are a lot of people there living their days feeling hopeless and beat up. But remember, there is endless hope in Jesus. Surrendering fear to God can help us be the change for a better world. We can be the light that we were meant to be. Let's let go of the fear that we hold within us and make room for the peace that is only really available through God. We can lay aside all the things that fill up our minds and distract us from really what matters. Let's take our hands off the things that we can't control and trust that Jesus is who He says He is. Let go of the me mentality and spread the hope, the grace, and love that we are freely given. And let's remember that living fearlessly, it doesn't mean that we'll never feel afraid. Fear is a natural human response, but we're called to really just kind of rise above it by trusting in God's promises. Isaiah 41:10 reminds us that God is with us, strengthening us and upholding us in times of fear. That foundation for living fearlessly is knowing that God is always with us. Fear often makes us feel alone, but Isaiah 41:10 is a clear promise that God never leaves us. When we start our day with the awareness of God's presence, fear begins to lose its power. Notice how God says, "I will strengthen you and help you." We don't have to rely on our own strength. In fact, our strength is limited, but God's strength is boundless. Living fearlessly means surrendering our limitations and trusting in God's ability to carry us through. To live fearlessly, we must surrender our fears to God every day. It's an ongoing practice. When fear creeps in, we pause, we acknowledge it, and then choose to hand it over to God. Fear can knock on the door, but it doesn't have to take up residence in our hearts. So let me ask you a question. What does living fearlessly look like to you? Maybe it means those difficult conversations you've been avoiding, or perhaps stepping into a new role, applying for a different job, or mending a broken relationship. Whatever it is, know that fear doesn't get the final say. God does. Write down those areas of your life where fear holds you back. Pray over them and ask God to replace those fears with His peace and courage. Then, take one step of faith, even if it's small. Will you pray with me? Lord, thank you for your promise to never leave us or forsake us. Thank you for giving us strength when we feel weak. Thank you for upholding us when we feel like we're falling. Help us to live fearlessly, trusting in your presence and your power. May we step out in faith today, knowing that you are with us every step of the way. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for joining me this week, friends. Have a great weekend.